Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 2nd and tonight's film is Contagion. This is the first out of 5 movies I'm going to be doing for 31 Horror Nights that don't exactly fall into the horror movie category. This one is a medical disaster film. There's also a psychological thriller, a dark fantasy, like a crime thriller, and a drama with kind of a horror movie attached to it. You'll understand when we get to it. This one I still think does sort of fit in the mold because there were some moments in this movie that I did find genuinely scary. This one I liked much, much more than The Descent from yesterday. In fact, I would say that this one would probably get a 9 out of 10. I thought it was really effective and I liked it a lot. The plot of this movie is that there's this virus spreading. And it's not like airborne. It's not like you can just be in the same area as somebody who has it. Apparently, it's like one that's spread through touch. Like if you touch somebody who's affected, or if you touch something that they touch, you can get infected. And this is a disease that has a very, very high mortality rate. Like I think 1 in 4 of the people who get it die, and it's quick too. It happens within 3 days. They have like seizures, they cough up foam. It's not like I haven't seen this, but I have seen like clips of it. It's not like cabin fever, where like a big part of the horror is like the disgusting things that it does to the human body. The actual gore part of it, like the looking at the effects of the disease itself on a person, that part is actually kind of downplayed. What's brought up more is, first of all, like the hopelessness of the entire situation, because they have the top doctors in the world looking nonstop for a cure, and while they're doing that, like the longer they do that, the more people are dying from this. And it also is about the effect that it has in society as a whole. Like, I'm not going to say like it's total anarchy and government's topple, but there's looting, there's riots, there's like theft, there's a lot of people going on. There's a lot of fire departments and police people like going on strike or like not showing up to work because they're afraid to go outside into the world where this terrible disease is out there. This movie also has a pretty star-studded ensemble cast. There were a lot of people that I knew from other things, like Matt Damon, Kate Winslet, Gwyneth Paltrow, Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law. But there were also a few people that were in a lot of things, but I hadn't seen them yet until this. Marion Cotillard, I believe her name is, and what's her name? Jennifer Ehle? Yeah, her. The cast is great. Everybody does a good job with their respective roles. And it's one of those movies that like has a bunch of different major characters and a bunch of different plot points going on at once. There's like multiple different groups of doctors working hard to try to find the cure. You got the people in the government working with those doctors. You got just like normal civilians. One of them, Matt Damon's character, he loses 2 of his family members to the virus, but for some reason he's immune, and it's just him trying to keep his daughter from catching the disease. And it tells the story from many different angles. You get people who like have a lot of trust in the government. You get one of them, Jude Law's character. He's a conspiracy nut, and he runs a blog. And he's like constantly talking about, oh, they actually do have a vaccine, but they're just hiding from us, or they're hiding the fact that this vaccine right here actually does work. And he like tries to convince as many people that he can that he has the cure, and the government's just hiding it from them. You get the same story from many different angles, which is very helpful considering that this is something that affected the entire world in this movie. I think a big part of what makes this movie scary at some points is just the hopelessness of some of it. Like at the beginning, it's mostly just like the shock. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what this is. But as it keeps going, once people get infected, you can just see it on their face. They know that they're gonna die. And just there's some really good acting in this movie too. It's sort of like the Of the Dead series by George Romero. It's not just the terrible thing that's happening. Some of the other scary parts are how people react to the terrible thing that happens, because sometimes it just brings the worst out of people. This movie has a lot of good characters. It's paced well. It's interesting. It doesn't shy away from the medical stuff. It actually taught me a few things. And it was just a very interesting and at times kind of scary experience. I would definitely recommend this movie, Contagion. Maybe if you're not into like horror movies, this could still be something that could be up your alley. All right, now that that's out of the way, I recommended this movie. Let's start going into spoiler territory starting now. One of the most impactful moments in the movie is Kate Winslet plays like one of the higher up doctors who are trying to come up with a cure, and you see her in a hotel room, and then she wakes up coughing, and you can't really see her, it's dark, but you can hear in her voice that she is just terrified. So she like runs to the bathroom mirror and she checks her temperature, and then you see her face when she sees like a bad sign, and one of the moments that I talked about before. One of the people realizing they're infected and just like thinking, I'm gonna die, and it's really sad when it happens because she was actually a really good character. Another thing this movie did that I like is that it's sort of like Paranormal Activity or the Amityville Horror, where they have like day number that they show up to, like, just to show like how far things are going. But the movie starts at day 2. It doesn't start at day 1. You start the day after, and throughout the entire movie, you don't actually see how it starts. You don't know who Patient Zero is. They have theories, but it's never confirmed. While they're talking about it, they mention that it had to have formed with like something had to do with both a bat and a pig, and then it went into humans in it was either Hong Kong or Macau, and that's where it started. And at the very end of the movie, after everything happens, you see what happened. You see like a bat eating something partway and then dropping that into a pig farm, and then the pig eats it, and then that place goes to a casino, and like the chef like starts working with it, but they're interrupted halfway through and they don't wash their hands, and then they touch Gwyneth Paltrow's character, and that's when the movie ends, because it like goes for a circle and you see how it started. Overall, Contagion is a really good, well-structured movie. It's not just how scary this virus is, it's also about how society responds to that virus and the things they do, and it brings out the worst in some of them. One of the things that that kind of exemplifies this is that they do create a vaccine, they do come up with a cure, but the movie doesn't stop there. There's still the issue of getting it out to people, and for some reason, they end up doing a lottery. Like at one day, they just draw one birthday after another, and on day 1, people born on March 10th will get the vaccine. Then the next day, and I'm imagining like some people have to wait up to a year to get their vaccine, which is horrifying to have to go through. The entire thing is a really interesting movie because you do see so many different people and how they all react to it. Overall, it was really good, and I would recommend it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.